Welcome back. You've joined the HOG Auckland Chapter. We're leaving from Auckland Harley-Davidson on a Saturday afternoon ride. This is one of our regular half-day rides to varying destinations. This time we're going down to the Waikato, we're going to the Rangiriri Hotel. And on this particular ride we've got a smallish group. I think there were 8 bikes in total. There was 1 pillion involved. And we're heading off down the line. We're going to go along State Highway 1 through to Rama, and then we're going to be cutting through Ararimu, and then around through Mangatawhiri, Coalfields Rd, and then up through Kauwhata through to the hotel itself. Now, our regular starting point, we head off onto Niall Burgess Rd from the dealership, and as sometimes happens, and even on this ride with such a small group, we got separated immediately at the lights there. So there is a little bit of a catch-up required here. We did catch up as we got along Princess Street, just in time to all see together this little police incident, some kind of car breakdown. So out come the cones, out come the flashes, and traffic bedlam ensues. This is Saturday afternoon, last weekend in fact. Anyway, once we're past that, we're heading onto the motorway. This is all pretty stock standard stuff for our rides. We board the motorway at Princess Street on-ramp, and we're on State Highway 1 right here, heading south. Now, as I mentioned, our departure times from the dealerships are 1 o'clock, so this is probably about 1:15 on a Saturday afternoon. Traffic's quite light, it's not too bad, and we're able to make some pretty good headway here along the motorway as we forge our way south until eventually we get off the motorway at Rama, and we're travelling now down Ararimu Rd. The countryside's looking really good out here. There's been a lot of rain. There's plenty of bad things about that, but one of the good things is that everything stays really green. And speaking of green, what you might notice around here is a lot of the roads have got green tops in them, and that's not necessarily a good thing. It's to do with the time of year. We're kind of in autumn at the moment, but the green stuff that we're seeing on the road is actually moss, and that gets pretty slippery, especially when it's wet. So why are we getting moss? Well, there's not as much sunshine, there's a whole lot of shade, there's rain, and eventually, and less traffic I suppose as well, and it all combines to have the conditions for moss growing on the roads, which in these country roads can be a real problem. Almost as big a problem as missing a turnoff. Our road captain unfortunately just flashed by this little turnoff we meant to make up there onto Totara Rd, but no harm done. We didn't go too far before realising the error, came back. Tail end Charlie there, Nev, is pointing us down the way we should be travelling, and this is going to head us in the right direction. We've got a bit of catching up to do again here, because with the slight misdirection, only a very short one, but it did built some separation into the group. But luckily there's some big straight roads that we can do the catching up on here. As we're coming out of Totara Rd, we're heading on to now Paparata Rd, and this is going to take us on through towards Mangatawhiri, where we'll briefly get on to State Highway 2 before cutting across Coalfields Rd and Falls Rd, heading up into Kauwhata. There's some fantastic countryside on view around here. Again, green tops to be looked out for. You can't be too careful around that stuff, but anyway, it is what it is on the roads. Now, I would like to point out as well, all this way we've been travelling so far, we're still in the Auckland region, so you don't even have to leave Auckland to get some pretty amazing rural country looks. It's a pretty big space that's occupied by the Auckland region. These hillsides here look pretty interesting. They've been hit a little by rain and slips, which we still seem to be getting plenty of that stuff. Today was in question a big one, where state of emergency again called in the city. Anyway, moving on from that, we're now on Paparimu Rd leading up to Mangatawhiri, and when we're coming down this part of the road here, this would signal that probably a couple of kilometres back we've crossed the border from Auckland into Waikato. So we're in the Waikato region now, And in this area you're likely to come across farm vehicles, which is exactly what we've got here. A big tractor hauling lots of things in the tray, including a couple of farmhands. So whenever there was some space there, we just very carefully moved past and on beyond the tractor unit. There's only a couple of riders behind me, and we have a regroup situation just before we get on to Mangatawhiri Rd. There's Nev, our tail end Charlie, heading through to let the road captain know we're all caught up again. So all the chickens are home to roost and away we can go again, turning left onto Mangatawhiri Rd. And this will take us up towards State Highway 2, which we'll very briefly be on before turning off and going down Coalfields Rd, which again, it's another interesting ride. I think on a recent video I showed some footage of that road on a ride back from Rangiriri, where we went via Hunua. Very interesting ride that was. Anyway, the Coallands/Falls Road area, fabulous place. It's kind of a slightly different landscape around here. There's kind of like a marshland area out to the right hand side on this, as this road is oriented, which makes for some interesting viewing. It's quite a different landscape than we're seeing up until now. On the left hand side is plantation forest, and this leads us through into getting closer towards Kauwhata Township itself, and we're kind of heading along what's now called Falls Road. There's roadkill round and about. It was well signalled by the rider in front of me there. There was a big possum or something caught on the road there, so try to avoid the fresh kill because those things are quite big, and you could have a skidding effect on your wheels if you happen to pass directly over them. So you try and avoid and signal to the rider behind you that there's something there on the road in those cases. We come off Falls Road, we're on Waerenga Rd now, heading through into the township of Kauwhata, which we'll be coming into very soon. There's a small little S curve of the road, passes over a railroad track, then loops back on itself, and then straightens out, delivering us towards Rangiriri itself. And once we're at this point, we know we're real close. It's about 10 minutes from here to our destination. Even if that, I think it might even be a little bit less. Unfortunately, I didn't time it quite so well for the battery on the GoPro, because we're going to run out of juice just as we come within sight of the hotel. But this is one of our typical winter rides. We rode for, I guess, a little over an hour. Very enjoyable ride. We managed to skip the rain on this one somehow. There was a little bit of rain on the way back, but this was a good ride. We got together, sat down, had a bite to eat, some refreshments with some good riding buddies and friends, and then made our own way home after that. So here's the group coming to the close at the hotel, and I'll wrap this one up right at this point. Wish you all safe riding. Take care out there, have fun. See you on the next one.